So what is consciousness? Well, this is the perfect place for me to answer that question here in this slice of paradise in El Salvador on Playa El Zonte beach by the Pacific Ocean, which is a surfer's paradise here, I'm told, and there's certainly plenty of surfers to back that up. So consciousness, well, it is the God source consciousness, material, energy, vibration, frequency that runs through all creation. It's in every molecule of water, the water in our oceans, the water within our bodies. It's within every grain of sand, every person's eyes that you love, that you look into, or that you don't love and you look into. It's within every atom, particle, molecule of them. Every animal, every insect, every tree, everything is alive with consciousness. And this consciousness, God source material, which is made up of the frequency of love. It is love that creates, and the frequency of light, and light holds information. Whereas darkness, which does come from the light, is the denial of information, is the withholding of information, is the ignorance. So consciousness, I mean, it is a material that is not fully understood. In fact, the mainstream science ignore, and I mean mainstream here, so obviously there's many scientists that do not, that understand that there is much more than what mainstream science tries to manipulate us into believing, that consciousness doesn't even exist because they can't measure it, because they can't understand it, they can't really understand energy. They disregard it, just like they disregard 97% of our DNA as junk. It is not junk, you know. Just think about everything that exists within creation and how intelligently designed everything is. Everything is connected and everything works together. We have just been subconsciously programmed to believe that everything is separate. We have been playing a game of separation consciousness. We have been spiraling, descending in consciousness away from truth, away from light, which is truth, into darkness, which is ignorance, which is the withholding of truth. But as soon as we start to spiral back into consciousness, as soon as we start to awaken and become aware, as we start to spiral back up into the light, into information, into truth, we start to realize that everything is connected, that we all work together as one organism. You could see yourself, but within your body, you have all these consciousness, all these cells that are infused with consciousness, with God source material that gives you life, that animates the body, that allows for this physical experience. And within your body, you've got trillions of cells making up what appears to be one body, but the body is not solid. The body is an energetic system. And as you start to commit to your inner journey and connect to the body, really start connecting to the body, because lots of these programs in this society here to make us hate the body, deny the body, abuse the body, go away from the body as if it is bad. The body is not bad. The body is a gateway, a stargate into our into the cosmos, into the connectedness of all of life, into all of information. And as you start to connect to that through dedication, practices like meditation, then you start to feel the energetic system within your body, and you realize it is a system of consciousness working together. So as we've got all these trillions of cells in the body, we are a cell of the planet, and the planet is the cell of a multitude of planets, which are cells of a galaxy, which are cells of the cosmic body. We are all a part of the cosmic body, and we all work together. So consciousness, which is this mysterious material that, you know, we cannot fully understand with our logical minds, and we're not here to understand it with our logical minds. We've been programmed to believe everything needs to be understood logically for it to be real, but that is not the truth, and it keeps us limited and it keeps us small, which is part of the programming of this separation consciousness. So consciousness within the fabric of consciousness. We can split consciousness into two, right? When we are conscious, we are aware. So within consciousness is awareness. When we are conscious, it allows us to be aware of ourselves, aware that our choices create our reality, that we have power, free will to make choices that will create a reality that is more pleasing for us, rather than the reality that is created for us through unconsciousness. So we also have the inversion of consciousness, you know, in this separation consciousness that we find ourselves in right now, which we are waking up from, moving back into unity consciousness. In that consciousness, we have been unconscious, and we have been heavily programmed by the control system, which is, I don't want to call it the control system anymore, because it has no control over me and many others now who are waking up from our slumber, from our unconsciousness, from our sleep. So in the unconsciousness, it is there that we are programmed with fear, with violence, with so many things that keep our consciousness trapped in our lower chakras. And I'll do a video on the chakras, but it keeps our consciousness trapped in often in the root chakra, in the base chakra, which is it's all about our safety and our survival. And when we are trapped in that, and all we can do is think about how we can stay safe, feed our family, then it is very difficult for us to start to move up the chakras into our power centers, into our heart centers. And often our heart center is being also closed down. It's had to be closed down because of all the violence that is constantly shown to us, either people that are experiencing it or people that are seeing it on our TV. So I've got another video. Please do check out my video about expanding time, because that goes into a bit more detail about one of the main ways that our consciousness has been our consciousness has been manipulated and kept low, kept in unconsciousness. So when we are in unconsciousness, it means that we are not aware. We are not aware of the things that are driving our lives, that are driving our behaviors, because it is our belief system which actually creates our behaviors, our actions, how we interact with each other, with ourselves. And those subconscious programs that have been created through this control system, well, seeded within it is the program of not being enough, of lack. So often we feel that we are not good enough, we do not deserve love, we are less than, and those programs that make us feel like that keep us entrapped in situations that are not good. So we may stay in a relationship that is not good because we feel like that is deep down, we feel like that is all we deserve. So when we are in consciousness, we are unaware of the programs that are driving our behavior. And when we start to become conscious, we start to bring in awareness, then we can start to observe those programs. So the outer world is always reflecting back to us, the inner world. So the outer world is a mirror reflection, it's a holographic reflection back to the belief systems that we are projecting out of our minds. And those belief systems, again, come from society, come from culture, come from the media, come from the government, come from many external sources, many other people that are unconscious, passing down these unconscious programs so that we all can be slaves, enslaved in the slave control system. So these programs of not enoughness that get passed down. But as we start to, is mirrored back to us from our external reality. So the reason why it gets mirrored back to us is because the journey of the soul, the destiny of the soul is to awaken, is to, as we have descended in consciousness, is for us to ascend back in consciousness, back into the light, spiral back to the light. And as we do that, we can start to see these programs and we can start to challenge those programs. So if we are in a job, let's say, or a relationship, and within that job or that relationship, we feel like we are not being treated well, we feel like no matter what we do, what we say, we are treated badly, and we continue to try and get the other person to change, well, that is not going to happen because that other person is reflecting back to you those programs within inside of you, so that you can awaken and realize that you do deserve love, you are good enough, and anything that has made you believe you are not, which often comes through our childhood years. That's when we are our most receptive to these programs between the ages of 0 and 7. Our brainwaves are operating at a theta alpha brainwave state, which is a very receptive brainwave state where we just like sponges and we absorb everything in. But as we start to go through these difficult challenges in our life, then it is there to wake us up, to start realizing, actually, I do have a choice. You know, you are a multi-dimensional being, and you may not be able to embody the truth of what I'm saying right now, but if you are watching this video, then I know that you already know this within you, that you are a multi-dimensional being, and you are not what this society has taught us that we are. We are not small, we are not powerless, we are powerful as we awaken. So as we become aware and we start to realize that we can challenge those beliefs and we can change those beliefs, and we can start to treat ourselves with love and care, and as we do that, then we start to make better choices, because as we become aware and we become conscious of our patterns of behaviors that are keeping us stuck, and we make changes, then we move into free will. Because while we are unconscious of our patterns, and we are just continuing to be directed by those patterns, then we don't have free will, we have no choice, and we don't even realize it. So in order for us to move into free will, we must be aware. And when we are in free will and we are aware, then we can follow our destiny, because our soul is always trying to communicate with us. It wants us to have an amazing, extraordinary life. And right now, many of us that are here, many of us here are here because we know we are going through a great awakening, and it's time to seed in the new earth, a new consciousness on this planet. It's time for us to start becoming conscious that we are part of Source, that we are connected to Source, and we are connected to each other, and we are loving, caring, powerful beings. And this reality that is being created has only been created because of that control system manipulating our frequency, keeping our souls imprisoned. And if you've followed, there's a really prominent scientist, Nikola Tesla, who says, you know, if you want to understand the universe, if you want to understand yourself, you need to understand energy, frequency and vibration, because that is what we are. And as we start to raise our frequency, our vibration, by doing our inner work, by becoming conscious of those subconscious programs, by committing to rediscovering the self, what actually happens is, as we go in and do that inner journey and recommit to rediscovering the self, we start to connect to the God spark, which is in every single one of us, that has been waiting to be acknowledged. As soon as we start to acknowledge that, well, it starts to enlighten more. Think of it this way, right? If we're in denial of something being in existence, let's think you've got a little child, right, or anybody's in your life, and they're coming to you and they're wanting to talk to you, and you're constantly just pushing them away. Eventually, it's gonna go away. And then when you start to give it a bit of attention, then it's going to be like, okay, but it's not going to trust it fully. And the more attention that you give it, the more it's going to start to show itself. And that's the same with Source. It's not that Source doesn't trust you, it's that Source is not going to enlighten and reveal itself to you if you're in denial and you're pushing it away, because you're pushing it away subconsciously. So first of all, we have to acknowledge that we are consciousness, we are Source. Do that inner journey, connect to that light within. It starts to light up, it lights all the places, all the shadows. We have to do our shadow work. You know, there is some infiltration in the spiritual community that says everything is love and light and just ignore the darkness, but that is false. That is false light. If you ignore the darkness, it doesn't go away. It just can run rampant, unconsciously, unchecked. And it will direct your life, even if you are pretending it's not directing your life. So we must connect to the light, allow the light to illuminate the shadows and the darkness within, and then we can start to dissolve those shadows. We start to realize those shadows, those not enoughness programs, those people-pleasing programs, all of that's being infected as a virus into the consciousness of society, that they are not real, they are not us. And the more that we do that, the more that we hear our guidance system, the more we are led by our soul moves into the driver's seat, our heart takes over, and the fears of the mind start to dissolve more and more, and we become a co-creator with our higher aspects of ourselves, which we have already decided. We already have a divine plan for ourselves, and we can connect into that, and we can be guided by that. So yeah, so if you are interested, you know, this is what I do, this is my passion, this is the journey that I have been on consciously, I would say for maybe 5 years or so. It really ramped up in 2020 for me with the obvious what happened. It really awoke me on a much deeper level and made me go even deeper inwards. But you know, I've been on this journey all of my life. This is what I came here to do. I came here to help people reconnect back to the true soul self, so they can move into soul alignment, so that we could all live harmonious lives. We have been living in separation conscious. We are done with that. Enough is enough. Look around at the world. Is that good enough for us to live in? Is that what we really want? Or do we want more of this? More of paradise, more of connection, being able to be in the world and contribute via our passion. So watch my video on passions and watch my video on expanding time as well. If this video inspires you, resonates with you, excites you in some way, and if you're interested in going on that reconnection journey and starting that shadow work, which is not hard. You know, people are often scared to be with themselves because we are being programmed with all these lies about the self, all these artificial mind controlled programs, and we have all these distractions, the TV, drink, drugs, you know, whatever, to keep us away from the self, and we are scared to go in. But it's not hard and it's not scary once you start that work. It's empowering and it's pleasurable, and it's a fun journey to go on, and life gets so much more, you get so much more meaning, so much more connection. You move out of that zombified state of slumber into an awakened state, and you continue on that spiral back into the light, back into source, back into knowledge, back into connection and love.